mom came into the room and she's like, look at my phone. And then I couldn't see it, so I had to look at mine. I'm like, oh.
I can't bet against Tom Brady. I have the Bucks winning 31-27 and Tom Brady going to his 10th championship.
Yeah, and I really think the Clippers' chance to win the championship was last year. And they were up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets.
Chris Paul is one of the most underrated players of all time. He's been the best player wherever he goes, and that includes with the Rockets.
You said you can't bet against Tom Brady, and as a Cowboys fan and what I just did last weekend, I am not going to bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. I mean, that's all I can really say. There's two of the top 5 players in the league, and they are very, very good.
Hello, I'm Taylor Hearn. You listen to The Outsiders' Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. We've already talked about the Dame situation. We recorded that video during that day. And the man that is maybe using Trade Simulator? Not sure. Austin.
No, I'm not. I'm not really all that worried about trades, especially because the Wizards are not really looking to make any trades at the moment. But I think this Dame trade will start a snowball effect around the league because I think teams are going to see moves need to be made. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think the trade market is officially reopened, or maybe it's like actually open now, because that was the first domino to fall. Now, what happens with James Harden and with Jrue Holiday? I think James Harden's probably the next domino for me, because he's been linked to the Clippers, but now there's Jrue Holiday. So I feel teams are going to start making moves because just because of the teams that if Dame had gone to the Heat, I don't know if we'd see anything, but I feel a lot is happening now to where teams have to do it, and like training camp is starting right now.
Yeah, and you got to think that these teams, especially the Heat, for example, you have to make a move. You were sold on getting Dame, or you thought that was the only place that he could go so that you could lay back. There eventually a trade's going to happen. Nope. Now you have to go out there and get a Jrue Holiday or make another trade. I think another team that that's very interesting is the 76ers because of the Harden ordeal. Like what's going to happen there? Because again, the fact that Joel Embiid is yet to make it outside the second round, I think is weighing on not only his mind but the team's mind.
Yes, that's a great. Yeah, I think Sixers are a big team. I also think the Raptors, because it seemed like they were very interested in Dame, and like now with the Dame off the board, do they go for someone else or do they trade Siakam?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I don't really know the answer to that because it's really what do they want to do? Do they want to have a full rebuild or not? Because I believe that trading Siakam would be a blow up type of trade.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. It'd be a blow up trade. And I feel like the Dame, I think they're still deciding, do you want to try to be more competitive? Because I don't think if they go into this year, they'll be a mediocre team. They'll be a will they, won't they team. And I was just surprised with like Dame. I was like, I don't buy Dame to Toronto. I didn't buy Dame to Bucks either. So I feel teams, and now, like we talked about in the Dame video, we both agree the Bucks are the best team in the East. So there's going to be ground shifted, or there's been a shift in the hierarchy. And now what do other teams do in response to that? And I feel now what they know they're up against, they will make moves.
Yeah, and I thought the Bucks were the best team in the East before this trade. And while it's still going to have to prove itself and it'll have to click, and we have to see them play together, I do think this makes them an even more interesting prospect, especially because Dame wants it. You know that Dame is going to be playing like his legacy's on the line because it is. You can't be like this is legacy changing. This is a big reason why I think Russ or even Harden, for that matter, their legacies are tarnished, at least partially, because they don't have that ring even though they've been on super teams or teams that are very good. Those Russ, KD, and Harden teams, or the Harden with Chris Paul, or Harden with Embiid. Even though Harden has an MVP and he's averaged 30 points multiple times in his career and he led the league in assists last year, I think it caps his all-time ranking when you don't have that title. And Dame's going for that.
Yeah, I agree. And Dame to me has kind of been obscure lately just because of what's happened with the Trailblazers and their season. And yeah, it's a big legacy for him. And same thing with Harden. I think rightfully so, the Nets situation gets blamed on Kyrie, a little bit on KD, and he kind of gets out of it. But now he's requesting an out to another team, which seems very. This is legacy changing. And what does he do on this team? Because any of the teams he's requested to go to, because he didn't request to go to the Rockets, it was just that wasn't. He requested to go to the Nets, and then he requested to go to the Sixers. Those haven't worked out. So what does his third team look like?
I don't know. I don't know. I've heard that he wants to go back to Houston, which I think would be extremely interesting. But obviously that kind of caps his NBA title window, at least for the foreseeable future. How do teams like the Lakers, who can't really make a move unless they make a huge move that would use a lot of contracts, how do they work around this? Because at the end, the goal is not just to make the finals. The goal is to win. And there's only a few teams, I think, at the moment, because of this trade, that even have the chance, in my opinion, to beat a Dame and Giannis-led Bucks team. So I feel like even the Mavs, like how do the Mavs at the same time, because they don't really have many great guard defenders, am I wrong?
No, yeah, you're totally right.
I don't know, unless you're Frank Ntilikina is your guy or something like
Oh,
that.
Frank Ntilikina's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that was really their one guard defender. And
yeah. Well, and
I don't think they
Bullock.
have. They're just very perimeter centric. Like they can guard Chris Middleton, but who's guarding Giannis is my thing, and then who's guarding Dame. And if you can't guard both, I don't think you can go shot for shot because I think that eventually the high percentage takes that Giannis will be taking, and the fact that Dame will be relatively not uncovered, but it will be easy for him to get open. Uh, it definitely questions how these teams will be built.
Yes, and for the Mavs, I have a big thing with the Mavs, as you were talking about. The Mavs, to me, are a fringe. I love that you're going to the um, championship level because I don't really know if they can make it. They're a playoff team. But you bring up a great point. The guard, to me, yeah, Frank Ntilikina did great against Devin Booker, but it's very difficult to me on who I think the Mavs are looking to Josh Green. I really am not sure about Josh Green. I hope he can take that next step. But yeah, you do bring a great point. And another thing about Giannis and the Bucks is they have Giannis, of course, and that experience as you've talked about. So now the main thing for me is um, who there are still. How can they guard Dame? And I really would love Drew Holiday against Dame, as I really don't. I can't think of a guard right now in the East that can defend Dame. The Celtics really don't have They don't have Marcus Smart anymore. You could Jaylen Brown would be good, um, but that's a tough comparison to me. So I think some key guys that could be traded are Pascal Siakam. Um, I'm interested in Clint Capella, and really want to know. I feel there's another trade out there that hasn't happened yet. And I know it's very finicky for me to say that because, well, oh, I can go, that's the trade I was talking about. But I really don't understand, or it's very difficult to me to see how someone responds to the Bucks move with the Dame trade, because the big guys to me are Harden and I don't feel like Harden fits. But um, that's something I really can't figure out. And how does Harden affect the? I know how Harden affects the offense, but how does a team combat Dame? Because I think it really frees up the offense. So you need a defensive guy, and I don't think Harden provides that, and I think Drew provides that. But is there another guy in the trade market that you see a team trading for? Because I think the big problem with Dame is the defense. How do you defend that team now?
Yeah, and Dame's not the best defender, so I do think that when you're attacking the Bucks, that does leave a little bit of a gap because Drew is obviously that good, but the ability on offense, like you mentioned, is unparalleled in the league. So how do you attack that defensively? I mean, on the trade market, I don't know if there's a Dame stopper out there, but there's definitely some good guys. I think that a team that would be very interesting this year, a team that I anticipate to become much better this season. I don't necessarily know if they're title contenders, but I think Chet could really determine that. Is the OKC? Shea is a very good defender. Lou Dort's a very good defender. So you have those perimeter defenders, and then Giddey you can just kind of hide, and because of his height, he could still guard Chris Middleton probably. So you would have guys there, but in the trade market, I mean, you'd have to go for a guy that it's tough because it is such a versatile scorer Dame is. So you'd have to wonder if maybe a team tries to make a move for CJ McCollum because he's played with Dame before and he would know things about Dame that other teams wouldn't. It seems like, or what were you about to say?
Oh well, yeah. I want to go to the Thunder thing. Like you brought up the Mavs. The Mavs to me, just I'm worried about them not making the playoffs. There are some issues there for me. So I would trust the Thunder. I think the Thunder make the playoffs.
I agree.
I also hope. I feel like the Mavs will make the playoffs, but I need to see some stuff. As I talked about Josh Green, does he take that step? So I do like that with Chet, because to me, we're talking about guarding Dame, but like you brought up in the Dame episode, how this frees up Giannis. So if I'm a team, I'm going to try to figure out, okay, how can I limit Giannis and kind of put the pressure on Dame?
And my big problem is now with what the Celtics have did, trading away Marcus Smart. Like Marcus Smart would have been perfect for this situation, and now him being gone, kind of, I do think hampers their ability to make a title push because while they do have enough of good big defenders like Al Horford or Robert Williams, you lack a Dame stopper. Jaylen Brown is a good defender, but can he stay in front of Dame? Dame is so quick, so fast, and his ability to shoot from extremely deep makes him a threat whenever he crosses half court almost. So you have to have a guy, I think, set to that job all day. While Jaylen Brown obviously is going to have offensive responsibilities. So that's where I see like Smart would have been the guy for this. And now that he's obviously not, you do wonder how the Celtics would go about guarding Dame.
Yes. Yeah, that was something I was like, yeah, Smart. I was like, oh yeah, Smart's not on the Celtics. Brown, maybe Derek White, but here's the thing I want to talk about with Drew, because I think he's a big piece. Did you hear the Warriors rumor? Or
I did, but I don't buy it because you've already made the move for Chris Paul. I don't see how that works. Because Chris Paul's not going to want to play 10 minutes a night.
Yeah, what happens if they flipped Chris Paul or Chris Paul got moved to a different team?
It's a 60-day thing. You can't trade him.
It's a 60. Yeah, okay, they can't do it.
You have to wait. You'd have to wait. But the thing is, if you wait for the Drew Holiday trade, then it's another 60 days from that. So it would be 2 months from whenever this trade finalizes. And I don't think it's been 2 months since Chris Paul's been traded, right?
Okay. Yeah, and that trade's already been submitted. Yeah. So that's difficult because I think Chris Paul's a good piece for teams.
It actually could be. Is it 60 days since Chris Paul's been traded? Let me fact check that.
Okay. Because like I feel Drew doesn't. They're gonna try. Drew's gonna get traded very soon before this trade gets finalized. I can't see him starting with the Blazers.
I could see it because you got to think 60 days from now, is November.
Mhm.
So it's still early enough to where you could make a trade and it still be worth it. So the he was traded July 6th. So yeah, it won't be 60 days until July 6th to September 6th and then September 6th to October 6th. So we still have about a little over a week, 8 days or so as at the time of this recording until Chris Paul could be traded. And the problem is the Drew Holiday trade, when it goes through, there's a 60-day from that. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to wait a while for this really to go through and to keep all parties in agreement for as long as necessary to add Chris Paul to this deal. At the low end, it's risky. At the high end, it's impossible.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I do think we got to see some stuff happening. Guys are getting in to the off season or coming out of the off season. I think that dead period's over. So I really do think we'll see some trades, even some minor trades. Because with the Bucks now, what they gave up, I wonder if they try to go get some depth.
Yeah, and
Or
the thing is, they're
other
still
teams get
pretty
depth.
good on depth because of Bobby Portis coming off the bench. They still have Malik Beasley, who I didn't have in their starting lineup, but some people are saying Malik Beasley would start. And like I said before, they have Pat Connaughton, so they do have a good bit of depth. But if you added another guy, yeah, I do think that'd be pretty impressive. I'm just worried about, like I mentioned before, what are the Heat gonna do? Because losing the players they have lost, it's remarkable. And the fact that they got rid of Max Truss, they got rid of Gabe Vincent. There's just a gaping hole that could only really be filled by Drew Holiday. And if Drew Holiday does not go there, if Drew Holiday goes to the Raptors, if Drew Holiday goes to the Celtics, if Drew Holiday goes somewhere else, the Heat should be worried.
Yeah. This is a big year for the Heat. Just like you said, all the guys they've lost. Like if you want to capitalize on Jimmy Butler right now, you need to go for it again.
And this is, I don't know how this would work unless you would make some weird trade because of all the assets they've lost. But like if Harden went there, that'd be extremely interesting too. But it would be very hard to make that trade to where the 76ers would be okay with making it.
Yeah, I think that's very true. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I really just I want something to happen because then it changes my opinion, and I don't really know if I can predict what would happen. Like the Dame thing was insane.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we can end it there. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.